Welcome back to the future.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, but I don't have anything to continue on with it.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Welcome back to the podcast, guys.
Yeah, I'm Courtney. I almost said I'm Kris.
I'm Kristen.
I'm Courtney. I have the most embarrassing moment, which I will share for the viewers and listeners today. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm going to say?
I feel like I should.
You'll remember. So several years ago, it was a while ago, my brother got married. Do you know where I'm going yet? Anyways. Okay. So I was super nervous. I was gonna, instead of doing a speech, I played a song, which was also very terrifying. But that's not even the embarrassing moment. The embarrassing moment was when I got up there. And I was trying to say, I was either gonna say one of these. Hi, I'm Dave's sister Courtney, or I'm Courtney, Dave's sister. And what came out was, hi, I'm Dave.
Shut up.
Don't remember this?
No, I think I was in the
God.
bathroom. No.
No. Oh, you might have been running to get the guitar.
I'm
Someone
not sure.
did.
I
know.
ran out to do something because I know it had just stopped raining.
Yeah, I think it was to get the guitar. The guitar.
The guitar, guys. I didn't know this happened, and that's amazing. Did everyone laugh?
Everybody laughed. I'm like, yep, I did that on purpose. It was so embarrassing.
I think that's hilarious.
I know, and now
I'm
that, like,
Dave.
now that you don't remember that, maybe, I don't know, maybe you weren't there, but maybe there's hope that everyone else forgot. But, like, that's the one thing I think about all the time. It's my most embarrassing moment. And, like, the performance of the song.
I'm really proud of you for sharing that so vulnerably on this
Thank
podcast.
you. It was very traumatic.
Very good for you.
What's yours?
When I was in that figure skating competition, when I was like 10, not competition, sorry, the Christmas show, and I was performing a solo. So excited. My first ever in the Christmas show, and I get out there, I'm skating around. Wouldn't you know it, my fucking skate was undone, and I had to skate out, and then, but I came back and I skated again. But there was like hundreds of people watching.
Did you have to start over?
Yeah.
Well, that's not so bad. I mean,
But
that's
when I was that little, I was so embarrassed. But now, like, I don't give a shit.
I know, it's one of those things that
Like,
just
yeah, you
happens.
have to wait for me to do that again.
Yeah. Show them.
Anyways.
Yeah. So we tried to be a little more prepared this time, and we had written down what we talked about on the podcast.
But we don't really care, so you can
Yeah,
read the
like
description.
just a couple things, like affirmations are big, opposition, alignment, manifestation, blah, 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 blah,
The
blah.
same thing we talk about all the time.
Raccoons and astrology.
Except
Did
today
talk
we
about
talked about
raccoons?
opossums.
We did talk about opossums and
Slugs.
astrology and slugs, yes.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that.
Enjoy some random opossum facts, and opossum, not possum.
Yes.
And you'll learn the difference in this show.
And I'm sure many other useless things, like a slug spoon.
Where is that slug spoon?
I left it there. What? I was going to take it with me.
Was it because you didn't dry out your sink?
Nothing would dry. It was like 100% humidity all the time. I was in this tent. Yeah, but everything was damp. So any like clothes that got wet, like it would rain all the time. So we would, I don't know if you can hear the wind.
It is
very
very loud. But we have the door open.
Motorhome is just like moving.
We have the door open in case Nessie wants to come for a visit, but
Yeah.
we didn't know where she was.
She doesn't want to come out and play today. But what I was saying is, so I was living in this tent, and anything that was wet, like I'd be working in the rain, and I'd go hang up my clothes, and literally they would stay wet. They would not dry. So like my washcloth for my dishes was just wet all the time. It would not dry. It was very frustrating.
Sounds like a good time. Good time to get into the podcast.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. We're now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Okay.
So exciting. So yeah, if you are listening on Podbean and you prefer to listen on Apple or Spotify, maybe Google Podcasts.
Maybe you're watching the video.
Or if you're watching.
Yeah. We might be on Google Podcasts. I just haven't looked yet.
We submitted it. but we haven't checked. So check for us. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Goodbye.
Have a good day.
We haven't showered in 5 days, manifested anyway. Every day's a payday. Wait, what the fuck did Kris just say? Messi's in the hole, I bet. Come hang out with our furry friends. Courtney's gonna leave again. Are you triggered yet?
Take 2.
Okay, so recently a friend asked me how my energy level was, and because about a month ago when I got here, it was kind of low, and it kind of got me thinking about where I'm at right now, and I journaled about it. I think I talked to you about it at one point, where there was a couple mornings where I would wake up, and normally when I wake up and I'm in like a low mood where I feel like if I'm like self-pitying or, you know, if I just feel like very sad, but I'm not really sure what that is, that kind of permeates like in my whole day. Like it sets the tone for my whole day. That's what they say, like the first 30 minutes of your day sets the tone. So like there's been a couple mornings where I wake up and I'm like, I don't know, and then I would like do my yoga, and then, or even not even that, just I would think things through, and I have been able to change it. So then I'm like, I carry on with the rest of my day being like excited for it and like just in like an overall better mood. And I was like thinking like I was never able to do that before. It would just take over my whole day. I was like, oh my god, like I have really shifted things. And then I'm trying to think of like, okay, well, what was it that did that? I started doing a bunch of different things. Like I've done more consistent yoga, but I did do that before. Like I did that in the winter. I was doing the same yoga that I'm doing right now. And then, but I've also like, I am definitely eating a little bit healthier. I'm taking the time to flow with my energy. I have a passion that I'm following right now. And I don't know if it's like all of these things put together.
I think that was the missing piece in the winter was your passion.
Well, that's the thing, because I was doing something. I was going after. It sounds really weird.
Sounds really aggressive.
It does.
I'm going after it, guys.
I was building like a coaching business, which I was fashionable. I was fashionable. You were sporty and I was fashionable. Anyways, what was that a reference to episode 2?
Yeah.
Intro of 2 on audio. Anyways, we should also. Oh, we probably mentioned this in the intro. No, I'm just gonna carry on. No, I was very passionate about the coaching thing, but I don't think it was like as exciting or like as much of a challenge to me as like trying to learn astrology.
Yeah. I 100% think that was the missing piece.
You think so?
Yeah, because you are like, I've never seen you so dedicated and focused and like, yeah. But and I feel like when you're doing something that lights you up, it also doesn't drain your energy the same. Like you'll feel tired, but it's not the same like tired as when you're doing something that drains your energy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I think when I was doing the coaching, like I was creating a manifestation coaching company. I'm not there yet.
Going corporate, guys.
I'm going already. I was creating that, and I have such a passion for manifestation, but I think I needed all those steps to kind of learn what I needed to learn. So when I'm doing this now, it's been really helpful for me. Like it seems to be a lot easier. It's flowing a lot better, but at the same time, like I definitely feel like I want to get into the stuff that I'm learning, where before it was like I kind of already knew a lot, and I'm like, I don't really want to do any more research about it. I just like, I don't know, I just like want to get going, but I was also like, I don't really even know what I want to share. Like it was so many good things, but it was hard to really see how to put it out there. And we're like, now I'm like, oh, I could do all these things. I'm like, oh, I need to do research and really learn what these things mean. Like, go back to the root of these things. And
there's so much you want to share and so many different places you can take this, where I feel like, I don't know, and I feel like the community that you were living in while sharing the manifestation would have been really challenging, because I feel like a lot of those, I won't say those people, but they, I don't know, I feel like they would have been looked at manifestation more as like a woo-woo thing, and it's one of those things that if people don't understand, it's not gonna work for them. And then they like blame the person saying like, oh, like it's bullshit.
What do
you know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like it's a difficult field to go into in a community that is so set in their beliefs that you know, you get the dealt whatever.
Oh yeah, I've had so many people, like, I talk about manifestation, they're like, well, I like to work for my money, and I'm like, it's great, I'm so happy for you, but it's like, it's not even just about that. Of course, like, so many people say like manifestation is like, oh, you just wish for things and they happen. It's like literally all the manifestation experts that I follow, anyone that I follow for manifestation, no one talks about it like that.
Yeah,
I don't know who
you
talks
have
about
to
it
take
like that.
actionable steps.
Yeah, everyone that I follow says that, so I don't know where they're getting this. Like, maybe it used to be like that.
I don't know. I think if you look at it and listen to a few things, or maybe you're just reading a few quotes about manifestation or hearing other people talk about other people's manifestation coaching, it can come off that way. Because I know Greg and I had a conversation about manifestation last week, and he was saying about, like, he was basically saying the same, like, kind of questioning it and saying what the other people say, like, oh, you just, like, you know, wish in one hand. Just kidding. And I was like, no, but that's not. Every manifestation person I listen to is always like, you have to take actionable steps. You have to release the limiting beliefs that are blocking you. Like, if you have money blocks, it doesn't matter how much you make affirmations or how much you visualize. If you have limiting beliefs around money, you're not going to bring it in. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and, we should have a drinking game of how many times Courtney loses her train of thought. Here's one.
The train is off the tracks.
Yeah. I do want to go back to what you said about like the community, because I was working at the time. It was just in like a super small town, and I do love these people. They were not all of them, but like most of them were pretty great people. We just had different values. But I had a boss who he said this to me, like, not direct quote, but it was like, you know, sometimes people get the work-life balance off, where they think that their personal life is more important than their work life, and I'm like, I cannot say anything to you right now. I'm like, I can't do this. I quit. I'm just kidding. But I was just like, I think you've got it backwards. Like, so.
And that just goes to show how much we are trained in society that you are supposed to work comes first. You need to, basically, you have no worth if you're not working your ass off. And
I remember what I was gonna say earlier. I have 2 points here. So the fact, like, if you're gonna start a manifestation journey, I've heard like people say, like, it's not for the faint of heart. Releasing those limiting beliefs, releasing like past traumas, like, it brings up everything. And like, there's layers, so you're not gonna do it all in one sitting, but like, it's a lot. Like, it is hard work just to go through that. And most people there's a lot of people that live their whole lives without even like reflecting on the past or processing anything that they've been through.
A lot of people probably have traumas that they don't even know, because your brain is so good at blocking things off. People totally don't know if, I don't know.
Yeah, it is hard work just processing things. But there's another part of this that gets to me, because they're like, a lot of people talk about manifestation as being super selfish. Like, it's all about you and your life. Like, there's a couple ways this can go. It's like, you have to be able to take care of yourself. You have to be able to fill your own cup up. Like, you have to. Like, we know this. It's like, you can't help others from a state of, like,
depletion.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's that. But also,
I want to add one thing. I know I am so much better of a person when I take care of my needs. Like, if, for example, last night, Kort and I had a campfire. And normally I don't stay out. I was hanging out with Messi. Normally I don't stay out that late with her. But Kort was hanging out at the fire with me, and we were having such good conversations that we shouldn't have been having because they should have been recorded. So we're not allowed to talk unless we're podcasting.
Pretty much.
And but when I went in, I felt so good, and so I made Greg's lunch for today, and I made it from a place of love and like positive energy, and that went into his lunch, and now he's eating it, and he's gonna come home all positive and bubbly. And
of course, this is exactly what is gonna happen. But there's when I see for like if you're doing your own journey, I think it always at the end of the day, like it's gonna come back to this, like it's gonna cycle. You're gonna like dig into like yourself and what you're here to learn and releasing your past traumas, following your passion, like all these things that are related to you. But if you continue that journey, it always comes back to service to others. Always. Like ultimately what we want, what fulfills us is service to others. So right now, like I'm trying to like figure out what it is that I want to do with my life, and it is based on what I am passionate about and how I want to live my life. Like I want to create a certain lifestyle that like I flow best with my energy, I feel good, like I'm doing things just for me and not for making money or for any other end result. And then but I'm also going to be doing things that are in service to others, and I can't do that if I'm not doing the first one. And I cannot be present with people, and I don't think people know that until they've experienced it, until they've experienced actually filling their own cup, and then they're like, whoa, I am so much more present in my relationships. I can actually help people and focus on them without like thinking in my mind like, oh, the things I need to do, the things that I'm stressed about, or like being triggered by things. Like we're able to set that aside and focus on the other person throughout this whole journey. Oh, that was a good one.
That is good. I totally agree. Yeah, I love date night with myself. Like I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think I've just had so many people like talk down about manifestation, and I don't think like they've never tried it and they have their ideas of what it is, but it's so much more than that. Sometimes I get triggered when they talk like that, but like because that is a fear of myself. Like when I've started doing this, I'm like, am I selfish? Am I doing these things from a selfish place? And I don't think I am. Because I know at the end of the day, like this morning I was journaling about like my why. That was like the one thing I hadn't done yet for like starting my astrology. I'm like, okay, like I've done all these things. I kind of have a philosophy of like what I want to do with it and like how I want to help people. But like, what is my why? And I'm like, I think I know what it is, but I'm going to journal it out so it's on paper. It went deeper than I expected it. So at first I was like, oh, I want people to take back the power over their own lives, like the fiery energy. But then I went even further. Then I'm like, they can't do that without self-love. So to me, it actually all comes down to self-love, which is true.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny you say that. Because I believe that healing all comes back to self-love.
Yeah.
And that's what I
your
want.
Why.
Yeah, I want to heal people through like energy healing and helping them to learn how to love themselves.
Yeah, and I want to do that through their birth chart.
Oh my gosh, we can go into business together.
This is so exciting, guys.
Call it Raccoons in Astrology.
Hashtag Raccoons in Astrology.
Yeah.
But going back to like what I was talking about originally, obviously this is a big part of my life. I found like these habits that maybe it's because like I've done them before, but maybe adding in the passion just like makes them work better. I don't know. Maybe maybe it's just a balance.
What do you mean habits?
So like doing my yoga daily.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I do my journaling, which I've done for like over 2 years now, like 2.5 years, which blows my mind.
You do the morning pages, right?
Yeah, I do morning pages. So I do 3 pages of just like brain dump. Sometimes I'm more specific, so like I'll do maybe if I need to do like a forgiveness practice, I'll write a letter, or like write a letter to my future self. I could write a letter from my future. Like, there's so many things. Or write affirmations, which is another thing I want to talk about. But yeah, so there's a lot of like habits I've been doing, but I'm also probably coming from a place of self-love because I have the passion, where I'm like, I'm getting energy from the astrology and I feel good about it. So then I'm coming into these practices not like, oh, I feel so horrible. I'm just coming into them as like, oh, you know, like, I'm excited for my day. Or like, obviously some days I'm not, but I think I'm able to turn around because I remember my goals. Like, I remember like, so I am working towards something that really, really lights me up, and I've never had that before.
I can tell. You look like you're like gonna.
It's because of the coffee.
I had coffee too. We're definitely different people.
But I slept longer than you. I had a nap yesterday.
How do you know you slept longer than me?
Because I went to bed before you, and I heard you get up before me. Then I fell back asleep.
Why are you creeping?
You weren't so loud in the morning, so I'm just kidding. No, you're fine. No, Miller was at the door. He heard you get up this morning, and then Oliver does the thing. Her dog Oliver does like a howling thing every morning at breakfast time. It's so freaking cute. Like, I never get mad at him. Like,
I try to put him outside before he barks.
He's like a little howl thing. Oh,
he does not ever want to go to the bathroom first thing in the morning. He will not, like, if I put him outside, he just stands at the door waiting for me to feed him.
I will wait to pee, and he won't. Sometimes though, he won't go out. Like, when I let Miller out at night before I go to bed, I'll like let him out at like 9 p.m. and Oliver's like, nah, I don't want to go out. So he probably hasn't gone pee for over like 14 hours, and he's like, no,
he's got a bladder of a champ.
It's crazy.
I know. Like, sometimes in the winter when it's dark at like 5, he'll go to bed at 7, and then he doesn't go outside until I get up the next morning.
It's so funny.
He's
such adorable.
He's such a good boy.
I love him. I want to talk about affirmations. Because I never really understood the power of them until now. So, like, I've definitely done them, but I never really felt much about them. I was like, yeah, I kind of, like, get it.
Because there's so much stigma around affirmations. Like, affirmations don't work. Like, I've heard,
I feel like I've heard the other thing.
Okay, I believe they work. I love affirmations.
Yeah, me too.
But I have heard a lot of, I don't even know, just like in my life, oh, you can do your affirmations till you're blue in the face, but without this, like, this is like, I feel like affirmations need supporting elements.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like, replacing, like, reframing limiting beliefs. Like, that one was a big one. I think I've done so much of that. And then you're like, oh, once you've done that, you can have a new affirmation to really support it. And, like, every time that kind of comes up, because it's not like it just goes away. It'll come up, and then it's like, then how do you react to it? Do you let it, like, take over? Do you go like, oh, right, no, I worked through this. You kind of remind yourself of it, and then you say your new affirmation, and it, like, puts your new affirmation, it makes it more concrete in your mind.
Yeah, and for people to expect that after having something ingrained so deeply in your subconscious for 25, 30 years, maybe 45, 60 years, and get mad when it doesn't change quick enough, like, you have to rewire that shit, and it is not for the faint of heart.
And then also, once you've rewired it, like, what I learned when I was starting my journey is, like, you will feel differently inside, but your physical reality takes a bit to catch up. So sometimes it can be instant, but it won't always. Sometimes it takes a bit for it to catch up.
It's lagging in the simulation.
I love that. Actually, I have an affirmation on my phone. Like, whenever I turn my phone on, it says change can be instant. Yeah, because I'm impatient and I want to believe that things can change like that. So. I also did have, like, a manifestation expert say, like, it can happen, but we often don't believe that it can happen that quick. But anyways, going back to what I was saying is, like, I said affirmations for a long time, and I did all the work, and I still never felt the power of them until this year. Like, I don't know what it was. I honestly don't know how to explain it, because recently I've had some revelations, like past things that have come up, and I'm like, whoa. Then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a new affirmation for this, and then every affirmation I've made up since I've been here I have felt the power. I've never felt. I knew you were gonna do that. I haven't experienced that throughout the years that I've been doing this. Have you?
Welcome to the vortex.
Have you though before? Like, do you know what I mean?
Maybe it's just like a energetic shift on the whole planet. Because I feel like this is the first. I don't know. I've done affirmations. I've done affirmations before, but yeah, no. Now that you're saying that, they have felt really powerful, and when I'm speaking them, like I can feel. I don't know. Like my heart expanding, or like I don't know, like when I'm saying my affirmation, it's like I can feel the energy starting from my heart and like going out to my entire body. Ooh, it's so interesting. Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of something that I would love to share. It's kind of vulnerable, but I'm gonna share it anyways. But I want to say this first. The one affirmation, like I had a revelation a few weeks ago. I might have only been like a week ago. I don't know. But it was about something that like was so ingrained, and I thought I did all the work around this, and then like things still weren't fully working, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. And then I just had like a huge like aha moment a couple weeks ago, and it was just like, oh my god. And it was like I started realizing like my leg was hurting. And I'm like, this is causing my leg to hurt too. Like, it's causing all these things. It's causing my money blocks. It's causing me, it's the reason why I haven't committed to anything or, like, had success in anything. Like, it's a whole big thing. But, like, my leg was hurting. And so now every time I start to feel a little bit of pain, and I used to blame, like, I hurt my ankle 5 years ago. And I'm like, oh, it's because I hurt my ankle. So now whenever I go for a run.
How'd you hurt your ankle?
I was doing an obstacle course run, and it's one of these people actually, like, train for.
Oh.
I'd never trained. And, like, the very first obstacle, you had to jump over these massive pits. And I jumped over the first one fine. I went to jump over the second one, and I landed, like, on the edge of it, and my ankle just kind of... And then I ran the rest of the race. And then driving in, like, stop-and-go traffic, and it was a day I got Miller.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're driving stick?
Yeah.
You should.
It was my left ankle, and I was driving stick and stop and go traffic.
Yeah, I mean,
around like,
driving automatic, I feel like in stop and go, it's not really gonna hurt your ankle.
If it was my right ankle,
I don't think it would hurt that much.
Maybe not. Yeah,
so you need more pressure.
Anyway, that's true. So, yeah, I always was blaming that, and then I was like, oh no, like. I'm barely running. Like, I'm barely doing anything physical. And I always thought it was the universe telling me to slow down. And I'm like, I literally cannot slow down anymore without doing anything. I'm like, how can I possibly slow down more? Like, I'm trying to surrender. The universe is still forcing me to slow down. I'm like, I don't get it. And then I realized it wasn't the universe at all. It was me. It was me forcing myself to stop because there was a block stopping me from moving forward with my life, and it just all hit me. And so now every time like my leg, my ankle, like it was going, my knee was hurting, my hip was hurting, so like anytime,
you sound like you're 80
I
years
know,
old.
right? Well, some people have these pains that it's literally caused by like our internal thoughts. Like anyway, so yeah, every time I have this pain come up, I just repeat these affirmations that I created from that revelation, and it instantly goes away. And like things feel good, and I move on with my life. I've never experienced this in my entire life.
I love that you had that revelation.
Oh, I feel like it helped you too.
Yeah, like how many times do we say like, oh, that must not be the right path, but really it's our fears of failure, our feelings of not being worthy enough. I think that one's a big one. I don't know, how do you even work through that, not feeling worthy? Like, I feel like that's like the core limiting belief in myself, and I'm like, how the hell do I...
yours, but it's not mine. I did the self, like, I feel like I'm worthy of what I want. So before I found this thing out, I was like, I've done the work. I feel worthy of having a life this lifestyle that I want. I know that I'm deserving of it. Like, I know all these things, and it's still not working. And it's because, I guess I'll just share it. I didn't think I was allowed to. Just simple like that. Just like, you know, the way society teaches you things. I didn't think I was allowed. I didn't have permission to do things a certain way. So now my new affirmation is like, I'm allowed to do what I want. So like, I knew I was worthy. I knew I was deserving. But it's like, I'm not allowed to. No matter how worthy and deserving I am, I'm not allowed. Which is so silly.
And you know what's interesting is I use, like, every day I give my spiritual team permission to communicate and to work on my behalf. And I should also do an affirmation to myself. I should add myself into that and be like, God. I give myself permission to release those limiting beliefs and to release the feelings of not feeling worthy.
Yeah.
Release that shit.
I love affirmation. Now I will talk up the affirmations, but obviously you have to do the work. Like, there's so much behind that. And it took a lot, and I think, like, it took a lot of crying, too.
Yeah.
I'm kind of done with that for a little while.
Yeah.
Was there something else I was going to talk about regarding affirmations, or did I?
I think we've talked enough about affirmations.
Okay,
I'm
I
bored
agree.
of it.
Yeah, me too.
Fuck affirmations.
Alright, we're moving on to new and better things. I'm just kidding. We love affirmations.
Are we just going to keep talking about that?
No.
Do you have anything else you'd like to speak about?
Not in regards to that. I think I'm good in that area.
Yeah.
Do you think we've talked enough about, like, who we are? So people, like, don't know us?
I think I'd like to remain a mystery.
Yeah.
I think we should give them fake last names. Be really authentic.
Or no last names at all. Because I just wonder, like, we've shared these with our friends, so it's like they know us, but for people who maybe who don't know us, like, do they feel like they're missing something? I'm so curious. Also, if they're just listening, do you think our voices are recognizable?
Like, the difference between yours and mine? I would think so. There's sometimes, where it probably gets confusing listening to the audio when I am talking and then I talk in a different voice answering myself, or there was one episode, one situation where I did it 3 times where it sounded like 3 different people, but it was all me.
Yeah, it wasn't even me at all.
So it probably does get confusing, but I mean...
She's got multiple personalities. She is a Gemini.
Yeah.
Very fitting. I had a job where our receptionist, she sounded like me on the phone. I didn't think she sounded like me, but like what you were talking about with like the voices, how it sounds different through ears.
Yeah.
I didn't think we sounded alike, but we sounded so similar because my dad called. He's gonna be so mad at me sharing this, but I think it's hilarious. Like, nothing to be embarrassed
Did he say hi, Goob?
No.
Oh. That would have been funny.
No, so he would call me sometimes because he had a similar job, so he would call me sometimes and we'd like, not always work related things, but sometimes they were. But yeah, he called and she answered, but she doesn't say her name. Me, I always did, so I told him after, like, if you call and if you don't hear the person say their name, it's not me. I always say my name. And that's how a lot of customers got us mixed up too. But he called and didn't realize it was her, and she didn't realize, she didn't know who he was, and like, I think he said something and she missed it. You know, there was something that he had said that would have like made sense for like, that he was looking for me, but she didn't catch it, and then he's like talking to her as if he's talking to me, like, how's your day going? Like, oh, you kind of sound sad, or like, how, she just kind of, she's not very enthusiastic on the phone. So, and I am. So he's like, oh, like, are you okay? Like, how's your day? And then he was like, all right, bye, I love you. And then she's like, what? So then, like, after, she's like, do you know this? And she reads off off, like, the name of the business that he was working at. I'm like, yeah, that was my dad. She's like, oh, he thought I was you. So I called him, like, you know you weren't talking to me, right? And he's like, what? He was so embarrassed. Like, oh, you're so sweet. Did you not hear this story?
No, I feel like I wouldn't have even told Dad.
I had to. I would have felt bad. No. But then he felt bad, and he was so embarrassed. Like, oh, it's so cute. Like, it's totally fine. Like, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. But it was adorable. But I guess we did sound very similar.
That's hilarious.
Oh.
So now you guys know a little bit about our dad.
Yeah.
He said love you to another girl that was not his daughter, and we're really upset about it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't really know how, like, I feel like people they know I'm married. You're not. We have dogs, a raccoon.
yeah, messy. In case you missed it, like, we only described it in the first one.
I feel like I always bring up ranking raccoon things.
But Messy is a raccoon. She's adorable. We're gonna try to get her on a video.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But usually she's, like, eating nonstop, so you'll hear lots of cracking of nuts.
She is a nut.
She is a nut, but she's hilarious.
She's cute. I would like to know, so Kristen has been looking at possums lately.
I haven't been looking at them.
Looking up possums.
Opossums.
Possums. What is the difference?
One letter, guys. One letter. Just kidding. Opossums are native to this area. And the other ones...
Opossums.
Yes, and possums are, like, Australia and somewhere else.
And one of them has a fuzzy tail.
Yeah, the possums.
The possums. The opossums that are native here do not have the fuzzy tail.
They have a naked tail or sometimes no tail because of frostbite, because they actually aren't made to survive our winters. What the fuck?
That's so
And they don't
weird.
hibernate because they can't build up enough body fat to get through the winter, so they have to constantly scavenge, and their body temperatures are lower, which actually makes them less susceptible to diseases and rabies because their body temperature is too low.
So, like, those would die off in them?
Yeah. Or, not, I don't know. Yeah. They're not a rabies vector species.
There you go. Are they, you said they were native to here then? If they have trouble in the winters, do you think they're...
Yeah, I don't know. There's something
so
weird about it.
Curious.
Also, they have opposable thumbs on their back feet, which is so cool.
They have back hands.
Yeah. What did you say? You're like, but they would only... You said something about it, them only having opposable thumbs on, like, their back feet. Was that you?
No.
Who said that to me? And I'm like, well, we only have opposable thumbs on our hands, like on our front
feet.
Our front arms. Like, we don't have opposable toes. Wait, would it be opposable toes? Because they're technically feet? Opposable thumb toes?
Oh, like on the possums.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if we had opposable toes, would they be called opposable toes? Like, yes? They're not thumbs. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
Anyways, possums are really great for the environment.
They eat ticks.
Yeah,
That was the one thing I knew about them.
They're actually so incredible for the ecosystem. So if you see one, kindly thank it for its generosity in eating all of the slugs, bugs, and dirty things that you don't want in your garden and lawn.
That is one thing I miss about the West Coast is the slugs. And I hated them when I first got there. Like, well, I didn't hate them. I was like, oh, they're kind of cool, whatever. I didn't want to touch them.
They're kind of cool.
But they're massive. They're
disgusting. Like a big slimy booger. I hate when they touch me. Like,
it's so okay, but if
I did not consent to having a slug on my hand.
They don't like being touched. So if you touch one, they like shrivel up. They're like, they go in like a protective mode.
I literally
so cute.
wear gloves when I'm picking up apples in the yard because of how many times I've picked up an apple and I put my thumb on my opposable thumb on a slug.
I like you had to specify it was my opposable thumb. I like them. I don't know. I got used to them. I was doing some gardening on Haida Gwaii, and I got used to like touching them with my bare hands, and I kind of got over it. Yeah, but I won't touch worms.
Slugs are slimier.
I will touch a slug. I will not touch a worm. I won't like pick up a slug and have it like on my hand.
Look at my
I had
friend.
fun fact. I lived in a mushroom shack on Haida Gwaii.
On a
which
mushroom
is
farm.
Not a mushroom farm. Just someone's property. It was what was it called? Workaway. So like I would help out on the property for accommodation, and it was like this big tent thing, which was pretty cool. It had like running water, just cold water, but then there's like a wood stove in there. But I had a spoon that I used as a slug spoon because slugs would come in there, and they'd be like in my sink, so I had to like plug the drain at a certain point, so they come up the drain and like into my sink. And I wake up in the morning and there'd be like a slug in my sink, and I just like had my slug spoon to remove the slugs from my mushroom shack.
And where did you put them?
I put them outside for them to crawl back in later.
She put them outside on the mushroom farm.
It's not a mushroom farm. But you could call it that, because there was one section where my host, he was like clearing it to allow more mushrooms to grow because he liked to pick mushrooms. You can call that if you want.
So you were working on a mushroom farm.
I was. There we go.
There, it's settled. She's finally admitted it. She was working on a mushroom farm, living in a mushroom. Sounds like a...
What, in a mushroom?
Sounds like a children's book.
That's what I was thinking.
And we're all fairy tale characters.
I have one question for you before we end our little therapy session. Well, do you feel like it's been a therapy session?
I feel like my favorite part has been the random discussions about possums and slugs.
Yeah, that is fun. Okay, a year. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go back in time.
Back
to
in, I was thinking like a year ago. I love to ask people this question, but I feel like with you, I'm gonna ask you 6 years ago. Because 6 years ago was like when you met Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally I ask like, what would you tell yourself a year ago from today? But I feel like, would that be? I don't know. I'm kind of curious. What would you tell yourself 6 years ago? Right, the day before you met Greg, what would you tell yourself? We kind of talked about how like 6 years ago we're both like completely different people than we are now, and like we've done like a complete like 180, and
where we
love
would
our
both
lives.
be without Greg in our
Oh
life.
my god. Bless his soul.
I know. What would I tell myself?
Yeah. Like the day before you met Greg, if you like, yeah, what advice would you give yourself? I'm
Like
always
from
asking
where I
you.
am now?
Yeah. Like go back as you now.
I don't know if I have advice. Like I feel like
Well, you could tell her something. It doesn't have to be necessarily advice. What would you tell?
I don't know. Because when I met Greg, everything just... Like, we've been through some shit, but... And when I say shit, I don't mean, like, between us. Just...
Yeah.
Life's...
As a couple, you've been through...
Yeah. Life's different... tragedies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm the wrong person to ask.
Apparently.
I have no advice for that bitch. She can figure it out on her own.
It doesn't have to be advice. You can just say, you're doing a great job. Maybe it's because you've done so much, like, work around
a
this.
year ago, I would have said...
We will go back to a year then.
Bring Bear Bear in the house, and do not let him out of your sight.
Also, she's a he.
What?
She's a he. Because you thought Bear Bear was a she when you
Well,
first...
I didn't think that. That's what someone told me.
Yeah. I'm just...
Anyways.
Well, I thank you for asking.
Oh.
Would...
I was going to, but then you were being rude.
Like, she's being rude. I'm not going to ask her thoughts. Fine, we can just end it now then.
No. Please tell me. I really want to know.
That was so convincing.
I know, I literally said that on purpose
I
like
know.
that so that you think that.
I know how you work. Did you know that Sagittarius has, like... So every sign go back to astrology. Every sign has like a statement. So like Aries is I am. I don't know them all. I should probably figure them out. Sagittarius is I see, because it's like getting that bigger perspective.
Oh, I see.
I know Leo is I will.
What is mine?
Probably, I think. But don't quote me on that one. I don't know. Because that's the first air sign where it's like developing, like, if you look at the zodiac and like the steps of life, the third house, like Gemini, is very much about like developing intellect and like developing thoughts and communicating. So it's like I think, I don't know if that's what it actually,
and we're in our heads a lot, thinking all the time too. So I feel like that's really that could be it.
I don't really know. I think the second house is I have. I think that's Taurus. Like I have, because it's based on the material world. So like I am, I have. I think maybe I feel, I will. I don't know.
I can and I will. Watch me.
She's mocking me. I have a tattoo that says but I was going to tell myself, where was I a year ago today? It's November? Okay. Yes, I see.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Well, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't think I would change anything. I wouldn't like tell her to change anything, because I was even writing this in my journal this morning. Everything that I experienced over this winter is helping me in this moment right now. Like in my moment, like the stuff that I'm doing daily, I'm building off of what I learned over the winter. Not even just like work stuff, but like relationship stuff, self stuff, like my habits, because that's when I got into doing yoga. Like everything right now, not everything, but a lot of things were built on what I did over winter last year. So I would just like maybe tell her to just have faith. Like
in that every challenging situation that you're going through is going to help you move closer to becoming like the highest version of yourself, or stepping into your power. And
I had to make a lot of tough decisions over the last year, and I think me telling myself like, you are on the right path, no matter, even if it seems like things are so hard at times. Like you kind of go back and you're like, am I even on the right path? Like we're always on the right path, but you know, sometimes you just like second guess. I'm like, am I taking the detour right now? Like, am I getting there as quick as I can, or am I taking the detour? But even though it's all about the journey anyways.
And two, I feel, okay, so I was listening to Christina the channel, and she said about how like when things keep, it's like sometimes you have the lessons that you need to learn, and sometimes the universe is just going to be like, hey, and hammer you with these lessons, and it might seem like everything's falling apart and like you're tired, you want to give up, and you're tired of being positive, but these lessons need to happen so that your manifestations can come through, so that you are ready and you have learned those lessons in order for those manifestations to come through. So basically, when shit is getting really rough, just keep holding faith, because things are about to come in. That's what I don't know.
I love that. Yeah, and I think it was Catherine Zankina, Manifestation Babe. She was the one who was saying like, opposition is like the challenge. Like the universe is like standing behind you, and there's an opposition, and the universe is like, yeah, like you got this. Let's keep moving forward. Let's get through this so we can grow from that, like what you said. And so I always thought that opposition meant I was not on the right path.
Yeah.
So like it was mostly anything technological.
We can't even say technological.
It's fair. It's an annoying word. I don't like it. Anything with tech.
We're not techies.
No,
we struggle, but we're getting through it.
We are managing.
Yeah, we're on Apple Podcasts now.
Yes.
And Spotify.
And probably Google Podcasts.
I'm just too lazy to look. I will do that at some point in the future.
So many
or
times.
If someone else wants to look for us.
Yeah, that'd be great. So many times, like, if something had happened and technology would fail me, I'd be like, that's it, like, I give up, I'm done, like, obviously I'm not meant to do this. And then we started the podcast, and Kristen's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? She's like, it's just technology, like, we'll try it again. And so, like, if something failed, like our camera like a camera stops taping.
Taping.
I'm still living in the 90s. But if our camera stops recording, it's not that funny.
It is. I see that too sometimes.
Okay,
And then I
good.
laugh at myself.
So if our camera stopped recording, I'm like, this is it. I'm not meant to do this, Kristen. You're supposed to do this podcast on your own.
Yeah, she tried to bail, if you can believe
Well,
that.
I didn't want to, but I'm like, is the universe telling me to? She's like, can you stop with this? It's not telling you this. And then I learned this, that the opposition is literally just a chance to grow. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been living my life. It was like, this isn't supposed to happen because it's not working. But another thing Catherine Zinkina said, it's like, the opposition isn't telling you it's not supposed to happen, like you're not on the right path. Like what you need to think about is like how to tell if it's not in alignment or you are still on the right path. It's like think about whether it's in alignment or not, I should say, because we're always on the right path. But if you are thinking about the end goal, does that excite you? If that excites you, you're on the right path and you just have to work through those oppositions. But if you think about it and you're like, that I don't really know if I even want that. Like when I got to a certain point with my manifestation coaching, I was like, I don't even know if I'm not really super excited about this anymore. Everything I do just kind of feels like a lot of work and it doesn't really light me up as much as it did. And then it was a really tough decision, like letting that go. But that was a moment where I knew it was in alignment. But with this, like doing some of my astrology stuff, I was trying to do something and like technology failed me and I was like, what I learned from the podcast and you like I don't know, you making me aware of this.
I don't even remember what I said. I don't
know.
I said did I say the universe is just trying to see how committed we are?
Yeah,
if this is what we really want.
I think that's what you said.
I think that the universe will test you and like give you challenges to say, like, how bad do you want this? Like show us how bad you want it.
But there's other things that we can't control that just happen, and it's just like, how are we gonna respond to this? So, but yeah, like I lost my train of thought again. Take a drink, guys.
I'm tired of sitting.
Okay, well, I'm kind of done anyways.
Let's go. This podcast sucks.
Don't tell your friends. Just kidding, do.
Tell them how bad we are. How badly amazing.
And how funny.
Anyways, that'll be all. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Are You Triggered Yet? With Courtney and Kristen Von Schmeow.
I knew you were gonna go. That's our cat's last name.
I think we did record that, but I don't know if it ever got aired.
I'm not sure.
Aired. I'm done.
Okay, this is it. We're done. Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.